So that Aces three-peat was delayed and denied. And the Liberty proved they are the better team. Once again, they've been the better team all season. Obviously, they weren't in the WNBA finals a year ago, but this is a different Liberty team and a different Aces team. And the Liberty put that difference on display in Game 4 in Vegas in sending A'ja Wilson, the MVP, and the rest of the Aces home. Well, they're going to stay home, I guess, because the game was there, but you get the point. The Liberty overcame a lot in this one because I did not think they got a favorable whistle. In fact, I thought the whistle was very much in favor of the Aces. Not in a throw the game bias way, but just in the way it was officiated and called. The Aces were able to get away with a lot of physicality that wasn't called, while the Liberty got a tough whistle. There was one A'ja Wilson had that I didn't really see a call on. Jonquel Jones got in foul trouble. Leonie Fibich got in foul trouble. But the Liberty were able to weather that and keep going and keep battling. I mean, Fibich in particular has made a huge difference for this squad from last year to this year with her length and with her shooting. They got a couple big buckets from a veteran like Courtney Vandersloot. And Sabrina Ionescu rose to the occasion. She really struggled in Game 3, but she was able to put that in the rear view and come up with a big performance to put the New York Liberty back in the WNBA Finals. Now, to look at some of what transpired when I'm talking about those calls in particular, I mean, here is the A'ja Wilson and one that I'm sure a lot of people were like, where exactly is the foul on this one? You can see A'ja catches the ball underneath with the defender on her back. Maybe the forearm to the back, maybe, but it kind of looks straight up and down to me. That's a tough call when you're trying to defend a player like A'ja Wilson. That's just, tough to overcome if that's the whistle that Wilson is going to get. Meanwhile, on the other end of things, the Aces are able to get away with a ton of physicality. Like on this play against Breanna Stewart. You see Stewart try to operate. Clark on her. Foul. That's a foul. That's a foul. That's probably a foul. That might be a foul also. Just a bunch of fouls on that play. They're not the end of the world fouls, but the ref's standing right there. I don't know how none of those are called, or it doesn't even have the whistle up near his mouth during the portion. And then here's another one where Kelsey Plum. You don't get the full look here, but Kelsey Plum was being really, really physical, which I like. I like the physical competitive defense. I like the effort from Plum, but it took her diving on Sabrina Ionescu before they actually blew the whistle. I mean, she had to basically get into a WWE position before they finally blew the whistle. Now, I don't want to come across like some sort of Aces hater or anything. The Liberty are the team that I find more likable and I think is the better team. But the Aces had some chances in this one. It was just a 3-point game at halftime. They made some spectacular plays. They are champions. They deserve respect, right? And Chelsea Gray right here, this is some of that respect. Look at that spin she puts on that ball. That was a brilliant pass inside. And it was Gustafson, right? I mean, that's the second game in a row Chelsea Gray has made basically that exact same read to get a bucket. That's just a brilliant, brilliant pass. And then A'ja Wilson was brilliant protecting the basket in this game. She is by far the best defensive player around the rim. You can make an argument for Collier and others as a versatile all-around defensive player. But when it comes to pure rim protection, it is A'ja Wilson. Credit where it is due. A'ja Wilson, just a tremendous defensive force for Las Vegas. But on the other end, late in the game, Sabrina Ionescu, she was much maligned. I criticized her too for not handling the defensive pressure that the Aces brought in Game 3 very well. She responded in this one, came out early firing, didn't keep that consistency going for the entire game, but played a pretty darn good floor game. Got the game set off on the right tone when it mattered. And then when it mattered late in the game, responded as well with a big shot that kind of put the contest away. You can see it right here. Sabrina Ionescu catching the ball on the wing, sinks the three-point shot, and that was a dagger kind of shot. Her coach is pumped about it too. A dagger kind of shot to put this one essentially out of reach. Fades, deep shot, bang. I don't know if Ryan hit the you bet on that one. He might have missed the you bet on that one. But overall, the Liberty just brought it. They didn't let the game frustrate them too much. They made some silly fouls, some silly turnovers. I think Jonquel Jones's fourth foul was a bit of a silly foul. Phoebich maybe, was overzealous on her fourth foul. There was a play, where Jones ran into Sandy Brondello, the coach of the Liberty, and the Aces wound up getting a bucket. But they didn't let any of that spiral. They didn't let any of the rough whistles against them spiral. The physicality that the Aces were allowed to get, away with, they didn't let it spiral on them. And then they got those key contributions. Like I said, Vandersloot made a couple of clutch plays for New York in this one. And this is a Liberty team that's on a mission. I mean, Becky Hammond made an interesting comparison when I was in the building for game 2, where she talked about, to her, this was sort of akin to when the Spurs came back to beat the Miami Heat the year after the Ray Allen 3 in the corner off the Chris Bosh save, when you thought that the Spurs were going to win the championship there. I mean, the league did too. I think they had the trophy down on the floor, and the Heat wound up winning. They wind up winning that series in 7 games. Big time performance from LeBron James in game 7. It goes back to a rematch the next year, the end of that Miami Heat run, when, it's just tough. It's tough to do it every year. Attrition sets in. Lack of motivation maybe sets in. Roster, some sort of change, whatever the case may be, sets in for all these dynastic level teams. And the Liberty were hungry, like the Spurs were that year. And if you remember, the Spurs just were beautiful. They moved the ball around, shot the hell out the ball in that series, and kind of wiped the floor with Miami that year. And the same thing sort of happened here. The Aces got one game against the Liberty. The rest of this series, New York dominated. I mean, the rest of the games were not. Game 2 came down to the wire, but for the most part, the Liberty were in control of that game. For the most part, obviously, they were in control of game 1. And for the most part, they were in control of game 4. And now they control their own destiny as they look to go from start of the season to finish as the best team in the league. And let me also note one other thing. I saw a lot of the new fans, and I know some of you are the new fans to the WNBA on Twitter, X, whatever, commenting on this game. And that's a very good thing, because a lot of people have said, they're just here for one player, or they don't care about the rest of the players of the league, or they're going to go away once the Fever were out. It's an anecdotal observation. I'll wait and see what the ratings numbers and everything like that are. But I thought it was a big positive and very encouraging to see how many new people seem to be watching and really invested in this game between the Liberty and Aces, which is great for the WNBA, of course.